one of the things that we believe in here in Islam, we believe that in order for you to gain the most value is to share your knowledge, because if not, your knowledge will die with you. So I continuously share my knowledge. Whatever I know, I share.
I can imagine that this is what you were, you woke up to this realization one day when you were 21 years old. That's a very young age. It's also the time that I started my business at 21 years old, but not in the same, difficult conditions that you had. So tell me about what happened. Where was the switch from mourning, grieving, to waking up, to turning your assets, which is your laptop and your camera, into your first business?
Okay, so the switch happened when my mom took a part-time job as a cleaner. And because she didn't have working experience, she didn't have a high education level, that was all that she could do. So she could be a cleaner at a hotel. And moms, being moms, so when she come home, she come to wherever we are staying, she would, massage the shoulder, massage the back. And then I ask, Mom, are you okay? And she'll be like, no, I'm okay. Yeah, I just have to do this. And you know that at that moment, that your mom is just trying to be a mother. She's just hiding her feelings. She's hiding her pain. And she's going through what she has to go through, but she has to be strong in front of her kids. So that was my switch. That was the moment that I was like, I can't see my mom like this forever. It's not fair for her. So I have to do something. And I told her that I don't want to be a burden to her. So I told my mom that I don't want to be a burden to her and I want to find my own income. I know that I couldn't find a job. Actually, I applied for like lots of jobs. I applied for 3,000 over jobs. I didn't get a call back because I didn't have a university education after I dropped out. My highest level of qualification was just an A level. And for A level, you can't get much. You can't do a lot of things. And also a lot of the things are kind of like part-time work. So they don't really resonate to what I needed at a point in time. So I told my mom I needed to do something. So I had a boyfriend and I told him that I cannot go through this anymore. So I've got this laptop, I've got this camera, and I have my iPhone. At that time it was iPhone 3, 3G. Yeah, and I told him like, what can I do with all of this? And he said like, okay, you might want to sell your iPhone. And from the money, you can set it aside. If you want to start a business, you can do that. Just keep it first. So I gave him my phone. I sold my phone. He found a place that got the highest value, and he lent me his old smartphone. So I was using the phone all throughout the time. Then I told him, I have a camera. Should I sell this as well? And he said, no, that doesn't make sense. So I had a laptop and I have a camera. So I told him, hey, I think we can do photo booth business because that was trending at that time. We can set up a photo booth company, we can set up a photo booth service, provide the service. We've got a laptop, we've got a camera. We are basically good to go. All we just need is a backdrop and some props. So from the $200 to $300 that I got from selling my phone, then I told him about my camera and I also told him about my laptop. He told me to keep my money and he topped up another $700. So our capital was $1,000 to start off with. And then he said, okay, so I'm going to buy additional materials. I'm going to buy additional resources. With that money, we managed to buy a backdrop stand, one tripod, one small light, and one printer. So that was like luxury at that time. You are never going to get that now.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, we did that. And we got our first client. Our first client, like as you can see, I'm a Muslim. I wear a hijab. But my first client was a pub. So they were having their launch event. And at that moment, I was questioning myself, like, should I take it? Like, should I do this or not? And then I told myself, like, if I don't do this, I don't have money to survive. So at this current situation, it's a matter of survival. So I did it. I did it with my then boyfriend, now husband. We set up the business. We did our first project, and from that project, people discovered our talent, and people started offering us event photography gigs. So we got lots of event photography gigs. Then through the event photography gigs, we met even bigger clients. We got in touch with clients like a defense company called IHS Market. Then we also got in touch with other coaches and trainers who are working for even bigger companies. And that was when they started asking us lots of questions. So they started asking us things like, can you do video editing? Are you able to shoot a video for social media? Can you take some product photos for myself? At that point in time, for the first 3 years of my business, my answer was always yes.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah,
I
at that
get that.
moment, even if you can't do it, you'll say yes, take it
Yeah.
on, and then figure out how you can do it in the later part.
Yeah, that's right.
That's exactly how the business started for the first 3 years. We were able to survive all throughout the 6 years now. We're turning to 7 years already. And the main reason behind why we were able to do all that was simply because of that drive that we have talent, we have skills, we have resources. If we don't use it, then we're just gonna, it's just gonna go to waste. So now our largest clients include Prudential, UOB Bank, then IHS Market, like I shared earlier. So these are some of our biggest clients. And locally, we are serving some news agencies as well. So because of the privacy, I will not be able to say their names. Yeah, so
Sure.
we've done lots of projects, and we're so proud of where we have, we have gone. Yeah.
You should be from humble beginnings, like, and that's the beauty of entrepreneurship. You always remember where you were, where you came from.
Yeah.
And because of that story, because of that timeline that you went through, you appreciate where you are right now, don't you?
Definitely. Totally appreciate the journey that I went through. And, even at the moment where I was homeless, I was struggling, I told myself that, hey, you have to look back and think that this is the struggle you have to go through so that in the future you have a story to tell. You have things to share with people. And true enough, today that is the exact story that I share. And that story is so inspiring because it goes to show that you can be at the top of your life, but things just happen and you can go all the way down. But it's a matter of whether you want to stay down or do you want to go up. So I made that decision to climb up back from where I was stuck in. Yeah, so that's me, I guess. Yeah.
It's fantastic. And kudos to your husband because he helped you out. That's amazing. That's amazing.
I'm so grateful for him as well. He's my business partner. He's my operations manager. He does lots of the work in the company so that I can focus on Fempreneur Secrets.
Oh, that's good. So Blissful Studios is now 6 years. It's probably your bread and butter, right?
It is our bread and butter, definitely. So I have been running this business for the past 6 to 7 years, officially 6 years, but 7 years is the unofficial part.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
So with SEO Hacker, I also have a 1 year that's not official. I was a freelancer back then, so I count that 1 year that I was a freelancer, but officially it's been 9 years already for me. If you'd like to know, I'm 31 years old, so you're pretty much in the same age, the same way we started up. My dad kicked me out of the house. I had 1,300 pesos. I was very thin during that time because 1,300 pesos would be somewhere, I don't know, 40 sing. Yeah, somewhere there. That's all I had to start with. But yeah, so this is not about me. Tell me so from Blissful Studios, you became a company that helped, consultants and coaches, which you mentioned earlier, and you shot videos, edited it for them, and that's been up 3 years and 9 months. So your company kind of evolved.
Yeah.
But what I'm interested in is how it transitioned to now Fempreneur Secrets, which is, I don't know, is it in any way related with Blissful and Co, or is it something that came about from something else?
Okay, so I would say that through my interactions with women that I serve as my clients, and then also some of the women that I met during networking events and also communities that we have here locally, I found that there was actually a common thread, which is every single woman would have to go through a huge range of challenges as they start their business. At home would be the biggest challenge. And then when it comes to outside, when you are trying to deal with clients, you're trying to get on customers, even you are firefighting every single day trying to survive. So I feel that our challenges are different and they are so unique to women only.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't see men like talking about the challenge they face as a father. Like they
Mm-hmm.
don't really talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
But women face the challenge because the mom guilt is there if you have kids. I don't have kids yet, but I totally feel the mom guilt when I leave my nephews and nieces. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand and I can relate with that mom guilt of trying to, when you want to go out, you want to work, you want to do business, and the purpose of the business is for your family. But
Mm-hmm.
every single time you're always laden with that guilt that, I have to be there for my kids, I have to
Yeah.
see them grow. So our challenges are very unique. And
Mm-hmm.
that kind of like inspired me. Of course, on top of my own personal experiencing how my mother, she had very little knowledge about business. She wasn't able to take over my father's company, and she wasn't able to know what was the next step in life. So I realized that business knowledge is so important. And if you want to start a business, there's definitely lots of things that you can do. And yeah, but as a woman, definitely the challenges that we go through, even to start a business, can be quite crazy. So
So with this idea, because I'm thinking it must go deeper than that, right? And you mentioned it earlier, like you remember that time with your mom. That is I would say, the root of this inspiration when you started Fempreneur Secrets. But what I want to know is, you had that root, you had that passion in you, it was burning. But what was the trigger that just told you, okay, I'm doing this?
okay, so when we talk about the trigger,
Mm-hmm.
the trigger was depression. So I shared with you earlier also that I went through depression after my father passed away. I
Mm-hmm.
really didn't know that it was called depression, so I was going through it for a few years. Then when I got married, I went through depression again. And the only reason, because when change happens in life, you just don't know how to adapt. You're trying to adapt to things. So if you have gone through depression before, it tends to reel its way back in an uncertain environment. So
Mm-hmm.
I was going through depression during that period of time, and I felt that I needed an outlet. So I love to teach. From when I was very young, if my parents asked me what I want to be when I grow up, my answer will always be a teacher. But I didn't like to teach the conventional academic route. I tried it and I
Uh-huh.
hate it. So I did relief teaching when I was younger. I didn't like it at all because I felt that I don't resonate with the content that is being shared. Academia is just not for me. But when I share about business, when some people ask me for business advice, or they ask me like what should I do next in terms of my marketing and things like that, I get so fired up and I get so excited to share with them. I love to teach. So because of that depression, I actually told myself that if I want to overcome this, I have to do value or do good to other people. So I started giving value. So the first thing that I did during that period of time was I started sharing on Instagram, and I started sharing things that are about motivational things because I needed to motivate myself. So
Yeah.
I motivated others at the same time. Okay, so one of the things that we believe in here in Islam, we believe that in order for you to gain the most value is to share your knowledge, because if not, your knowledge will die with
Mm-hmm.
you. So I continuously share my knowledge. Whatever I know, I share. So that was when I started getting questions like, hey, do you have anything else that I can learn from you? Is there anything more specific that I can learn from you? You're
Wow.
very inspirational, things like that. So I was like, okay. And
That's awesome.
yeah, I started getting invitation to speak. So I was so honored to get those invitations to speak. So I spoke in a community of young women trying to figure out their ways in life, trying to maneuver their life and figure out what do they want to do next in their life.
It's
So
amazing. And all this from your Instagram sharing. Is that right?
that's right,
Oh,
social
it's
media purely.
amazing. It's amazing. So, from, like, this is a very good story. I just want to say that from a depression to sharing empowering words with others because you wanted to share it to yourself. And don't get me wrong, I do that all the time. When I read something that's very helpful for me through my Kindle or through a book that I'm reading, and I share it to social media because it did help me first. It's a behavior that people do, and from there, he got invited to speak to a couple of communities. So what happened next? How did you turn it into, a .com website and into a business right now?
All right. So the whole idea of the business was just sharing my knowledge. So I thought like, okay, so what's easy for me to share that I don't have to dress up and that I can, like I can just share my knowledge and people will still benefit from it. So I told myself, okay, let's start a podcast. So I started a podcast, a Fempreneur Secrets podcast. It all started as a podcast. That was it. I had no intention of actually selling anything throughout that whole thing. It was just purely for me to share knowledge. And as we go along, people started asking me, hey, can I learn from you? Like, do you have any workshops coming up? Do you have any courses that I can learn from you? Can you mentor me? Can you coach me? Things like this. So,
Amazing.
yeah, I know when I started the podcast, I told myself that if I have one listener listening it, that's good enough. But
Yeah.
now we have like over 1,700 downloads, and
Wow.
it's really crazy, the whole journey. So one of the things that I found really interesting was that I go to Brunei to do my trainings and also to conduct workshops. So when I was in Brunei, one of my fans actually found out I was in Brunei, and she tracked me based on my photos. She found me and then she gave me a hug.
Oh
Huda,
my gosh.
like, you don't know me, but I've been listening to you. Okay.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so
One of the best feelings in the world, right?
yes, but
Yeah.
best feeling. So that, like even if you inspire one person, be
Yeah.
it your mom, like your
Yeah.
mom, your family member, even your sister, your brother, you definitely have made an impact in someone's life. And that is the main reason why I started a business in the first place. So after the podcast, and people started asking questions about what I can do, if I can teach and things like that. And because I like to teach, I love to teach, that was when I actually told myself, okay, if I want to learn how to be a good adult educator, I have to take up a course. So I wanted to take up a course, but the course was really expensive, but it would be cheaper if a company paid for it. So that was like a thought that I had. And I just, told myself that, okay, so if I can get a job, the main reason why I want to get a job is to learn how I can be a better employer. Because I can receive feedback from my staff that I don't know how it's like to be an employee.
Yeah.
I take that message, and I told myself that, okay, they're right, because I don't have any experience being an employee. Maybe I don't understand what they're going through. I don't
Yeah.
understand what it's like to run away from your work. So after you've clocked out, you don't want to talk about work anymore. I don't know how
Yeah.
to, like. So I applied for a few jobs. I got called back for one of the jobs, and it just so happened to be an education company. And during the negotiation of salary, I actually told them that I have intentions of taking up this course because I want to be an ACTA certified trainer. So the course name is ACTA, so ACTA. So I told them from the very beginning, I want to be an ACTA certified trainer. So they were like, oh, that's great, because part of your onboarding training is that you have to take the course. So I was like, okay, so are you guys going to pay for it? Yeah. So, okay.
It's amazing.
So they offered me the job. I stayed in the job for about a year. I completed my course, gained lots of experience. They gave me some opportunity to train as well. So I got experience to train corporates and, students from adults from all walks of life. So I started to love it. I loved the whole journey. And that was when I developed that interest, and I started to think about Fempreneur Secrets in a deeper level. I said, like, it can't just be a podcast. Like, I've got so much knowledge to share. I have skills now. Should I conduct a workshop? So I gave it a try, and I conducted my first workshop. I had 4 students. Okay, for a good start. Yeah, I had 4
Yeah.
students. And the feedback I received was that everyone loved the way I teach, and everyone loved the content that I share because of that experiences that I've gone through and the way that I deliver the content. and understanding from the perspective of life as well
Yeah.
as the perspective of business makes me relatable to them as well. So I started to do workshops, and I got invited to conduct a few workshops in Brunei. And that was
Mhm.
the hit for me. I got featured a couple of times in Brunei, in the local media and in the whole of Borneo's media as well.
Wow.
It
It's
was
amazing.
crazy. And
Yeah.
then as usual, you get being picked up from overseas, and then when you come back home to your home ground, and suddenly people are like, hey, I want to interview you. So
Yeah, yeah. It's amazing. It's amazing story.
yeah.
So now it's been a year and almost 6 months, and almost a year and a half. How is that journey? I mean, I'm sure you've had a lot of people touched by your podcast. You have over 50 episodes that you've published right now. What's next for you? How do you envision your podcast to be?
All right. So, what's next for us is we are building a community. So, we are building an online community for our women entrepreneurs. We're calling it Fempreneur Circle.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's a circle where everybody can come together to support one another. And we are bringing together a lot of strong women entrepreneurs with experiences in their industries. They are going to conduct master classes in our community, going to share their knowledge, they're going to share their skills, how they got started in business, or even one of the key area of specialization that they have.
Mm-hmm.
So in this whole community, you're going to get lots of support. You're going to get lots of guidance. You're going to get lots of warmth from everyone in the
Mm-hmm.
community. And we're so looking forward to welcome women entrepreneurs into our community. So yeah, definitely, if your listeners who are listening in and who are interested to be part of our community, you can just go on over to fempreneurscircle.com.
Oh, it's up right now, fempreneurcircle.com.
Yeah, it's up.
That's awesome. And they can just sign up?
They can just sign up. There is a membership in order for us to keep running the service, and yeah, so you will be able to gain so much knowledge from whatever that we have done.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever workshops that I've shared in person are going to be conducted in house in our community as well. So yeah, lots of good things to look forward to.
That's awesome. And so we're gonna wrap it up. You have your your next call in a few. Where can people find you? You mentioned you're in on Instagram. What's your Instagram handle?
You can find me on Instagram at Fempreneur Secrets. Or if you prefer to connect with me personally, you can search for Noruyo, Noruyo.
Mhm.
That's my personal handle. And of course, so if you like, you just like what we shared earlier today, you can go on to fempreneursecrets.com and learn more about how you can get in touch with me.
Awesome. Fantastic. So that is Miss Huda Hamid. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. You guys have been amazing, and I hope you learned a lot from Miss Huda today as she tells us her entrepreneurial journey from where she started. That is grit, that is resilience and tenacity right there. Getting back up from where you are when life kicks you in the teeth. Just keep going forward. Just keep on doing what you need to do. And she is now on her way to creating her own community. She has the podcast. They have over 1,000 listeners. She has her video production company in Singapore. And that is after she lost everything. That is something that we can learn from. That is something that can inspire us wherever you are. Don't give up. This pandemic has given us so many things to think about. A lot of us have lost loved ones. A lot of us have lost careers, businesses. These are not simple and little things. These are big things in our lives. And you might be going through a lot of change right now. You might be thinking of a lot of things, and you're being burdened by so many of these thoughts. You just have to learn from Miss Huda right here, and she just got back up and kept going. With the little she had, she made it grow. Huda, thank you so much for inspiring our listeners. I hope that you're able to do more of these things as time comes.
Thank you so much for having me on the show. It was such a pleasure, and I hope your listeners will benefit from what I have shared today.
Oh, we sure are better for it. Thank you, Huda. Thank you.